Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is The Local Live.
Good evening and welcome to another episode of The Local Live. As always, I'm Anthony Carlo and we're bringing you the only news show that covers the Mamaroneck, Larchmont, and Rhine Neck communities. So let's take a look at the news we have tonight. In our roundtable discussion coming up, we're talking with Sonny Goldberg and Veronica Martinez about motherhood. The Mamaroneck parking dispute is back on the agenda after being tabled. Stay tuned. What's the future of broadcast journalism? New York Times columnist Alina Tugend will have a panel with some notable neighbors. Take a guess which team made our play of the week. And if you missed it, we have highlights from this year's wine trail. Does this face look familiar? We have an exclusive interview with actor Lilo Brancato. And let's help find Reed a forever home. Yesterday, Mayor Rosenblum used his personal Facebook page to alert village residents of the Board of Trustees' attempt to limit parking on Mamaroneck Avenue by zone and not by space at their next meeting on Monday. The mayor called the recommendations of the disputed Walker parking consultants study lunacy and arrogance that threatens the continued vibrancy of the village. The Local Live spoke to the mayor for comment, and here's what he had to say.
The original concept was to restrict parking from the Post Road down to Halstead Avenue for 2 hours alone. I think it's lunacy, it's crazy. You don't want to kick them out. You want them to stay here. That's the whole concept of the malls. You attract people to the malls and they can stay, for a full day. Well, I want people to come to the Friendly Village and I want them to stay here. I want women to be able to go to the beauty parlor, then go shopping, and then go to Molly's or another restaurant and stay here for more than 2 hours. And don't say you can stay here for 2 or 3 hours, then you have to leave and then come back again. And the key is you don't want to change the character of the village. You don't want people come here, at 6 o'clock, oh, now you have to pay to 9 o'clock. There's a certain investment you have to make in your own community. And I'm afraid that the majority that's pushing this, and in my opinion, it's Leon Potok who's leading it, and he's being supported by the other two trustees, Miller and Finch. I think that they are basing everything on the Walker study. Walker study, actually the study was very interesting, it was good, I liked it. However, what it didn't illustrate is, and it was certainly illustrated at the meeting last time, and that was they did not go in and speak to any of the business owners or any of the residents or any of the shoppers. Why don't you ask them what it is? And you got a very clear and concise statement by those very business owners. Leave it alone, don't do it. And unfortunately, they're bringing it up again Monday. I hope this shows before Monday. Come to the meeting on Monday the 11th and let the board know again, do not do this crazy lunacy.
The Local Live will keep you updated on what will happen at the Board of Trustees meeting in next week's show. If you can't make the meeting, you can catch it and other municipal meetings online at lmctv.org. Now we have an interesting panel discussion that we want to tell you about. It's called The Future of Broadcast Journalism, and it will be moderated by New York Times columnist Alina Tugend next Monday, May 11th at 7 p.m. in Mamaroneck High School. NBC Today Show co-anchor Erica Hill, NBC National News correspondent Kate Snow, and WNBC Today in New York co-anchor Michael Garagullo will be offering an insight on the ever-changing world of broadcast journalism and how to be a smart consumer of information. Sounds good. The cost of this class is $25. If you want to be enrolled, make sure to log into the website of the Larchmont and Mamaroneck Continuing Education Center at www.lmcce.org and look for the class Notable Neighbors. If you think you'll miss this panel discussion, we've got you covered because LMC TV will be filming the whole discussion and the Local Live will do the highlights of the night. Now it's time to take a look at what is trending in our local online newspapers. Here is Christian Zokale with In the Media.
Are you in desperate need for a gift on Mother's Day? Well, check out this list of 8 Mother's Day alternatives that go beyond the cop-out option of breakfast in bed. Their creative list includes taking a hike, enjoying music, seeing a movie, or going to the Mother's Day 5K race. All of the ideas are outlined on LOHA.com. The 2015-16 Mamaroneck Village budget was adopted just under the tax cap. According to Mamaroneck Review, the Board of Trustees' final version comes in at $33.9 million, which is $22,000 more compared to earlier drafts. The village is now just under $5,000 under the cap. The Westchester County Board of Legislators outlined a 60-day review of the Playland Agreement. This review will settle the debate on what standard amusements will look like. If the legislators do not approve of the agreement within the given time frame, Standard Amusements will have the opportunity to terminate its offer. According to the Larchmont Patch, the Mamaroneck High School newspaper, titled The Globe, received first place for the third consecutive year. The American Scholastic Press Association, or ASPA, reviews hundreds of newspapers across the country, and The Globe came first for content coverage, page design, general plan, art, editing, and creativity. And for all you cyclists out there, Bicycle Sundays start this week. The 2015 season opens up with May 3rd, 10th, 17th, and 31st between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. The Bronx River Parkway will be closed for cars on these dates. The course runs a round trip of 13.1 miles from the Westchester County Center in White Plains to Scarsdale Road in Yonkers. Check out further dates on Mamaroneck's Hamlet Hub. Those were the stories in the media this week. I'm Christian Sokole.
Thank you, Christian. Don't go anywhere because we're talking motherhood in our round table coming up next.
Everyone has one, is one, or knows one. Not cell phones, but mothers. And yes, do call yours in honor of Mother's Day. But we are talking about honoring mothers and motherhood and what the experience is and means. I'm Maura Carlin, and with me is Rebecca Berman.
Hi, Maura. As always, we want you to join the conversation. Call, email, or tweet us live, and the contact information is on the screen.
Joining us this evening are two women at different stages of motherhood. Sunny Goldberg, an LMC TV founder and Know Your Neighbors producer, who's both a mother and a grandmother. And we have Veronica Martinez, who's on the verge of becoming a mother, expecting her first child in a few weeks. And in the interest of full disclosure, Rebecca and I are also mothers. Thank you.
Happy Mother's Day to us.
That's right.
Definitely.
And to everyone.
I'm going to start with a quote. Rudyard Kipling once said, "God cannot be everywhere, and therefore he created mothers."
Wow, what a great quote.
I like that one to start.
I like it.
But we're going to go into Mother's Day. So is it a real holiday or is it a Hallmark holiday?
It's funny you should ask that. I am from Kansas City, Missouri, where Hallmark cards originated. Mr. Hall and his family lived very close to us, and I would say that they did a very good job of promoting Mother's Day. And everybody needed to send a card, and it got kind of really like too controlled. I think it should be this wonderful, spontaneous reach out, and they did have kind of they said that in their cards, reach out and, you know, send a card.
Kind of like a phone commercial.
Right. It was like a commercial. But I don't know how you feel. I just think Mother's Day should be whatever you feel. And I don't think it's sending a card as much as it is making a call, hugging somebody, or really face-to-face reaching out.
Well, there's a funny statistic based on that. You just said that. Americans buy 140 million Mother's Day cards a year, and hugging and reaching out, there are only 83 million mothers in the country. So people are. So even if you're not sure that it's a mom, you may be still hugging and reaching out.
Okay, how about that? What do you think? What do you think about that?
I think it should be more personalized. As a mother to be, and I have a mother too, just like anybody else.
Yes.
I think that my mom appreciates more me being there and hugging her and saying all these things. but she also likes the cards, though.
Oh, absolutely.
They keep them. I'm telling you. I was actually talking to my cousin, and I said, "Wouldn't you like? What would you like for Mother's Day?" And she goes like, "I would love a car. My son gave me one on 4th grade,
that's
and
true.
she still has it."
Well, that's a homemade. Oh my God! I have every
That
one
is
of
the
my
best.
children's cards.
Okay, so what was the favorite thing that your children did for you for Mother's Day?
Gosh, I mean, my favorite thing, I think, definitely the making. Lily, my youngest, made a little book, and I still have it. My mom cooks me my favorite mac and cheese. My mom takes me to the movie. My mom, and it's this little teeny wonderful. I think that was really a treasure, and my most favorite thing to do is, and my daughter Stacy got me a lilac bush that still today. I mean, that was so
that's
long ago.
great.
Wow.
It was a little teeny thing. My husband is a wonderful planter.
Yeah, because I was going to say somebody has a green thumb there.
Oh yeah, and
Definitely
he
would've
works
died
at
in
the
my
Harbor
house.
Island Conservancy, so he's working on the
Right.
harbor tomorrow. He was there this morning, but honest, that bush is so. I think that was my favorite. Those were my two favorite things, and just going out to dinner or sitting around being with them.
Well, I will say one of the things that I actually have a conflict about is not only am I a mother, but I am fortunate enough to still have a mother.
Oh boy,
And so Mother's Day, I have to honor my mother. But my kids and my family kind of gloms on, so I'm doing all the work. And I still haven't figured out why it is this way. Which leads me to, do you subscribe to the every day is Mother's Day theory? I'm not even sure I know what that means, but I keep hearing it anytime I complain.
Golly, what do you think? I think that's a real good idea, and maybe you should tell my children, but I'm not certain that, I was very unfortunate. I lost my mother at a very young age, and so I didn't really experience that, but my daughter and my son-in-law have blessed us with grandchildren, and when I get a call from them or I get to see them or we Skype, then every day is Mother's Day. There's no doubt about it.
Then I guess that's
See,
what
that's
it means.
exactly.
How about you? What do you think?
I think every day should be a Mother's Day. I think a Mother's Day should be the day that mothers can stop doing things at home.
Yay!
And that they can actually have a vacation of being moms and be spoiled a little bit.
And let me assure you, every day is not Mother's Day. Exactly. By that standard. I think it would be nice to be appreciated or to know that you're appreciated.
Very good. Very good.
Yes, I agree with you because you are doing, I have kids, school-age kids, so when you're home in the afternoon and they come home and they're like, get me this, take me there, you're like, why am I here in the afternoon again? So it is nice to be appreciated because of that.
I think that if I remember anything at all, I remember the one person in the world who allowed me to be a child was my mother, she always had my back. I could do something really terrible in front of other people. She wouldn't say a word till we got into the house.
Really?
Yes, she was my biggest supporter. And I think that's something that most, certainly girls, I can't speak for boys. You're going to be speaking for boys.
I know. I'm going to be having that experience.
Do you guys think it, and now this is a hard question actually for you though, so maybe this really is just for Sunny. Do you think it's harder to be a mom today than it was, I don't know, let's say 20 years ago, 25 years ago?
Oh, I definitely think so. I'm concerned about kids on computers all the time. You go out to dinner. I'm a speech pathologist, retired, but was a professional speech pathologist. And I don't see people talking at the table anymore. I see kids all sitting on.
Oh, so you've seen my family, everyone on his device.
Really, it's a very, and then I read something where the kids, their backs of their necks and their head, and that's one thing I think also, you're so concerned, you're afraid you're going to say something wrong. We've read so much. I mean, what do you think, Veronica? You're going to be a new young mommy?
Yeah, I was a child once too, so I remember being outside, I remember running. I don't see many people running anymore.
Now that's a good point.
Right, that is.
And
I don't see.
You're afraid to leave that child by themselves outside.
Well, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't.
You can't.
That's
your
the thing.
conscience will not let you do it based on when you watch what goes on in society
She's
today.
100% right. We would ride on our bikes. We would just go in gangs.
And it was be home for dinner.
You had to be home by dark,
Right.
before, for dinner, absolutely. But there's always a mother who's going to be at that playground, who's going to be watching. You're 100% right.
Yeah, and I remember knowing my neighbors. That's the thing. Nowadays,
Well, Sunny knows her neighbors.
Yes,
you don't,
I
you don't interact with other,
You know
with other
what? We're
kids
from
anymore.
the Midwest, and we keep our doors open, and it's a little different. In Manhattan, though, you don't know your neighbors. I think the village of Mamaroneck is kind of a warm, welcoming place, and you might be more apt to, but I understand what you're saying. It does take a village to raise those kids.
It does.
Well, let me go to motherhood, and I'm going to throw out another quote. Robert Browning said, "Motherhood, all love begins and ends there." You agree?
I agree. I totally agree. I said there's no greater love than what mothers feels about their children, and vice versa. And even though I'm pregnant, I love this child, even if I don't know his face, I don't know how he looks like. I love this child more than I can ever say that I love something or someone.
That's so nice.
And even when you're yelling at him when he's older,
Yeah.
you're still going to say, I
it's
love him so much when I'm going to kill him.
We call that in our house, bite the lip. Right. I keep saying, I live my life, I go let her live. But you're absolutely right. I agree too. There's just nothing like it. As I said before, your mother always has your back. Your mother is your biggest supporter. And it's really a very unique, very special. Mothers, sons, daughters, she's the one that's there.
Well, what do you think the most important job or role of a mother is?
The most important.
I would say just to be there. I think things go so fast. You're going to see this child's going to come out, and then he's going to be 5. I mean, it's just,
And then he's going to college.
It's going to college.
Yes,
It
it's
is
so true.
upsetting. And if you ask me, one thing I would tell you is just live in now. Enjoy every moment now, because it goes so fast. It really does. And I can see my daughter and the way she is with her daughter. And as I told you, we should have gone directly to grandchildren.
Right.
Having a grandchild is probably, my husband and I, we've never experienced anything like it.
How was that different than having your own kids? Like what happens?
Because with your own children, you're always worrying and on top of it, and you got to get the dinner out, and you got to get the this, and you got to make sure they're at school and this. And when we get Lucy and Leo, there's no conflict. You know, we were home just this weekend, and Lucy said, "Grandpa, I love you this much."
Oh.
All right, that's
Sonny,
the
let
best.
me ask you this,
Right.
since you have a little more perspective than we have. Does that worrying ever end?
No.
God.
Doesn't end when they're, I mean, they used to say little children, little problems, big.
Right,
I think
big
they
kids,
still
big
say
problems.
that.
They still do.
And it is true. It does not end. I mean, when my kids leave and they're going back to Manhattan, if I don't hear a text back from her, or here,
You worry.
you worry. I mean, I'm sure she's worrying right now. I'm sure she's been reading this child books and.
So what surprised you the most about being a parent? And I'm going to throw that at you too,
Oh,
Rebecca.
okay.
Yeah. What surprised me the most about being a parent? How difficult the job is.
I was just going to say, it
gotta
is
tell
way
you,
harder than I ever
It is
expected.
the one job that you don't get a degree for. You haven't really studied, except you're reading books, I understand.
Yeah.
And I think it's.
And you
one-
also never get a promotion or a raise.
You never get a promotion, and you don't. That's a good point. What do you think? What do you think the most?
It was way harder than I ever thought it would be. I don't think I had any concept of how difficult it is, and I don't know if it was as difficult for my parents' generation. I don't remember them doing as much carpooling and driving as I did,
yeah.
or being as involved in things as I have felt I had to be.
And feeling the pain of when somebody hurts your child, I will never forget. I mean, I can still feel it when somebody didn't invite Lily to a birthday party. I mean, I just wanted to run them over with my car. She would say, "Real mature, Mom." But, but
Right.
I think that really.
Yeah, it did also surprise me how their pain became my pain, and
Absolutely.
sometimes worse. I will also say, and another thing that surprised me is, at various stages of my kids' lives, I relived things I went through at their age, and I really didn't see that one coming.
For you, Veronica, do you think that you're prepared? I mean, do you feel?
I think that I have an idea of how it's gonna be, but hearing all these like is unexpected. That's the thing. I'm ready for the unexpected.
You're ready for the unexpected. And are you surprised that more young people your age, I mean, you're pretty young for me, have chosen not to have children?
Well, I think it's an individual choice.
It's a big expense, I know that.
Yeah, I think sometimes people choose not to have children for their own, they see their situations and how ready they are, and if they choose not to, I'm 100% backing
Did you
that.
always want to be a mother?
Since forever, since I can remember.
And you, Sonny?
There was never any thought in my mind.
You always did. You weren't sure. And I will never forget when I was a teenager, I would tell people, I don't want to have any kids. I don't want to have to do that. I have 3 kids. And I will never forget thinking that I didn't want to have kids because they probably were going to take up time and too much responsibility and,
That's interesting.
When you asked that original question about is it more difficult now than that, the one thing that I can't get over is how many youngsters, people are marrying so much later and having children so much later.
And I
or
agree with
choosing
you.
not to, which is...
And it's funny because when I see people like that I feel are older to start being parents, I think to myself, I'm exhausted from raising my kids. And I, started when I was younger, relatively, and I agree with you. I'm like, I don't know how they're going to do it now.
Well, it also depends on the number. If you have one and you've started later, it's different.
Right.
And for me, mine are spread out over a long period of time.
Did you hear this, Veronica?
Mine are
she
over
just
a
asked
long...
me. I said, wait, give some space.
Yeah,
But I have a lot of space, so I've been doing this for a very long time, and I actually think there's sort of, you have a shelf life as to how long you can continue to do it with the energy, regardless of your age. I'm not sure it's age that's determinative.
Do you think...
Who's interviewing whom? It's fine. Go ahead.
Do you think you have different experiences with one child than the next?
Absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
Absolutely. And they come from the same parents. They live in the same house, and you'd be like, huh?
Well, I don't know if you guys have siblings, but if my sisters, I have 2 sisters, if we're sitting here and we're talking about something with Mommy and Daddy, my older sister says something, I think it's, the 3 of us are remembering a situation. Same event, completely different.
Right, because you're
interesting.
you're 3 totally completely different
We
people.
are very
who live
different
lives.
personalities.
Right.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy. Somebody sent in a very nice quote, and they said, peace on earth begins at birth.
Oh, wouldn't that be wonderful?
That would be lovely.
I bet it was not from a person who's a mom yet.
Yeah, probably.
Because I don't think it has anything to do with
It's probably
peace,
one of Veronica's friends. We're sitting here ready to go in.
One of the things, being a mother, it always makes me think back to my mother. So, what is one thing your mom did or said that you swore you would never do or say?
Oh, my gosh.
Mine always said, go outside and stand on your head in traffic.
Okay.
I love that.
I think my mom may have
I haven't said that.
I think she might have said something like that too. I can't think of one thing. I can hear my mom saying certain things, like stand up straight. Oh, we used to have to walk with the. Oh, you guys are
She
so
made
much
you
younger.
do that,
Well,
really?
we didn't, but she would.
That
put
was
your
a
shoulders
Midwest
back.
thing.
That was definitely. Oh, yeah, had to, really, your shoulders back. And when I see people walking, I say, "Oh, Mom, thank you." That's true. And during the time I was growing up in the dark ages, there was polio, and my mother wouldn't let us go to the amusement rides or to the pools.
Oh, really?
In the summer, yeah. When there was a, she wouldn't do it. And I years later went to work at Goldwater, where there were, unfortunately, people my age who had polio. As a speech pathologist, I was assigned there. And I thought to my mom, as I told you, died when I was 25, and I would think to myself, Mommy, I cannot thank you enough. So that was one thing that I would feel terrible. I would say to her, how could you tell us we can't go to like Playland?
Right.
I mean, give me a break, right?
Do you still feel like she's always with you? Is
Oh,
that...
absolutely.
Yeah,
I quote her all the time.
Yes.
You remember.
Oh, definitely. And the one thing that's more important than anything, I think, if somebody passes away early, is how you can really honor them is through memory.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing how being a little child, whatever your mom said, is true. And when you start growing up,
yes, she's right.
As you grow up, then you say like,
how did she know that?
Like, how did she know? She's a mind reader.
Right.
That's what happened, and everything she said happened.
That's exactly.
Don't do this because this is gonna happen.
Yep.
You don't believe it? It happens.
Do you think that's different,
That
mothers
is
and
so
daughters
true.
It is
versus
really true.
mothers and sons? Well, because as the mother of a son, and I have 3.
3 sons?
I have 3 sons.
I didn't know.
One of the difficulties is that I can't really relate to the male experience. I look at things like a girl, and boys do things differently. So I wonder if that kind of relationship would be different with mother and son. We are actually running out of time, so I actually want everyone to give Veronica the best advice you can on becoming a mom.
Oh,
Well, that's really putting us on
And
the
I'm
spot.
going to, but I will start. I will start it to give you all time to think, which is that you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be good enough. And really, you don't drive yourself crazy about doing things perfectly. They're not that delicate. But even emotionally, you have to be there for them, and you have to be good enough. Okay?
I'm so excited for you. Only 4 weeks. I wish you so much luck. It's a beautiful thing to be a mother, and you are going to be a beautiful mother. That I can tell. Having loved this child from the moment, you and David are very lucky. If I had to tell you one thing, I would say you make mistakes, and don't be so upset about those mistakes you make because they were made out of love. It wasn't that you didn't love this child. It was that you just didn't know, maybe you couldn't always handle it the very best way, but you tried. And that would be something I would really want you to know, is that you make a mistake, hey, you keep going. And it's out of love.
You learn from it.
And you learn from
it.
it.
And they learn that you make mistakes, and it's okay to
and
make
that's
mistakes.
okay, because then they make mistakes, and
they don't fall apart.
Exactly.
Rebecca.
My advice, Sunny actually said it a little earlier tonight rather. You have to enjoy every moment that is like awesome and great that happens as you're raising your kids, because then you look at them and they're like 17 and you're like, but you were just 5 and we just did that cute thing where you did a cute dance or sang, or, you know, you just figured out how to ride your bike. So
and they wouldn't
advice,
throw you out and tell you to go in the back. And don't get in my car.
Exactly, and you're so embarrassing. I can't believe you're here. So try to remember to love and really like cherish every moment that is great and precious in raising your kids.
I will.
And then we get to know when that child comes.
Oh, definitely. It's coming back.
Oh.
We're coming back together.
We, however, are out of time right now. We thank you, Sunny Goldberg and Veronica Martinez, for sharing your views on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everyone.
Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, ladies.
Happy
You.
Mother's
And don't
Day.
go anywhere, because we'll be right back with more community stories.
Gee, that was fun.
Hey guys, you're watching the Local Live. Stay tuned. Yeah.
This week in sports, the Rhinebeck baseball team lost a close game against Blind Brook. Panther starter John Paul gave up no earned runs through 5 innings with a little help from his friend, the lefty pickoff move in the LMC Varsity Sports Play of the Week.
Ball. Oh, pickoff play gets him. The lefty with the nice move. Beautiful play over to the first baseman, Brendan Nashelski, and they get him, wipe him off the board for the first out. John Paul with a nice pickoff play.
Paul trying to get out of the inning here. No damage done. 2 away and a 2-1 count. Back to first.
Picked off for the second time today, Sam. Beautiful move from the lefty to wipe him off the bases.
Well, two problems there on the base paths for Blind Brook, and no runs cross the plate.
Looks a little like Andy Pettit there with that pickoff move. This past Sunday, the Local Live went along the wine trail in Mamaroneck. Let's take a look at our community segment of the week. Zavila Chipaziwa reports.
The Local Live is at the 9th annual A Taste of Mamaroneck Wine Trail, hosted by the Village of Mamaroneck Chamber of Commerce. Patrons boarded on trolleys, such as this one, to go along the trail for food and wine samplings. This year's event had 17 stops, many of them on Mamaroneck Avenue. The wine trail was a great way for local businesses to stand out, thanks to the support of Mamaroneck's Chamber of Commerce of such events that draw people together. Hi, Suzanne, would you mind telling us what specials the club car is doing today for the wine trail?
Sure, we're actually having a wine tasting. We're doing red, white sangria. We're also offering hors d'oeuvres.
It's been a great day in the wine trail. We've been very successful. Everyone's come in. We've had some new exposure to our store. Everyone seems to be very happy. We're trying 3 different types of tastings all around. We're giving out T-shirts and bottle openers and different beer goods for everyone.
This is our 5th stop, and I don't think I'm going to be able to make it to the 6th stop. So
he will. I'll carry him. It's not a problem.
Maybe on a stretcher. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see.
It's actually been fantastic. We got a surprising number of visitors, a lot more than we expected. We have Czech wines, we have Slovenian wines, we have Croatian wines. People don't even think this is normally like wine countries, but we have those.
Hey, how are you doing today?
Doing fabulous. What an awesome day. Beautiful weather, great turnout. We're happy to be here. A wonderful festive atmosphere. People are just excited that the town does something like this, participates in a lot of different restaurants, and hopefully they've come to their favorite spot, 360 American Grill, to have some wine, a little bit of snack, and a lot of hospitality.
Oh, it's been awesome. I've got to tell you, the turnout was awesome. We have 6 different wines for them to try, and I think they enjoyed all of it because they were here for quite a while. And as you can see, we still have a huge crowd here.
We had 3 reds and 3 whites. We had a bunch of different vineyards that we work with locally, and then we paired them with a bunch of different offerings from our menu. So I think everything worked out pretty nice.
How's the wine trail going with people coming in for desserts, which is sometimes paired with wine?
Actually, a lot of good feedback. People are very happy, loving our product. We have some nice sheet cakes over here. They come in and people are always coming back. Actually, we have a few people that come back the following day just to order cakes from us.
We will say that the owners of the bars go above and beyond, the owners of the restaurants above and beyond to serve the residents of Mamaroneck and Larchmont.
From sangria to international beer and wine, cakes, empanadas, and fried wontons, this year's A Taste of Mamaroneck Wine Trail was a success with the crowd, not only for Mamaroneck residents, but for visitors of the friendly village. For the Local Live, I'm Zavila Chipaziwa.
Are you a fan of the film A Bronx Tale? I had the chance to meet actor Lilo Brancato, and here's the interview. Gunshots rang out in the Bronx on December 10th, 2005. A police officer was killed. Actor Lilo Brancato spent 8 years in prison for his role in the death of Officer N. Chautegui. Now the star from A Bronx Tale is getting another chance at acting.
Dad, I'm sorry if I ever hurt you in any way.
He looks at his prison sentence as a blessing in disguise.
Because of him sacrificing and losing his life, I am the person that I am today.
In search of a fix, Brancato's drug addiction led to a burglary conviction. His accomplice, Stephen Armento, pulled the trigger.
Westchester and Arnold got a pickup of shots fired.
It is next to this house in the Bronx that Officer N. Chautegui woke up to glass breaking in the night. When he came outside, he was shot and killed. Now Brancato is trying to make sure that he did not die for nothing.
I got to make his life and the way he sacrificed it, worth it as much as possible. So that means I got to do what God wants me to do and why he left me here.
The Yonkers native is starring alongside Mike Tyson in a new movie, but according to him, there is a bigger purpose behind his second chance, and it has nothing to do with acting.
The true purpose of my life is to do what I just said, and that is to use the experience to help others.
PBA President Patrick Lynch does not think he deserves it, saying, quote, "We ask all right-thinking people not to support this thug's acting career by avoiding this movie and any project in which he is involved." Do you have a message for the police?
Just let me get on with my life. That's all I ask. I'm making better decisions, helping others.
While many people said they would give Lilo a second chance, some said they would not.
I'd see the movie. Lilo's he's a talented actor. I'll definitely watch it. I mean, people make mistakes.
I don't agree with what he did, and I don't think he deserves a second chance.
In the Bronx, Anthony Carlo. Lilo Brancato certainly had a lot to say about turning his life around. Special thanks to Christopher Carlo for helping field produce that piece. Meet Reed, our pet of the week. His foster mother tells us that he is housebroken, walks well on a leash, he is good with children and cats. He also plays with other dogs. What a gentle puppy. He needs to find a forever home. Please go to www.ny-petrescue.org to find how to adopt him. The weather is getting better, so don't forget to tune in next week for our gardening show. Remember that for more information on the stories you just saw, visit our website, lmctv.org. Any concerns, questions, or comments can be emailed to us at thelocallive@lmctv.org. I'm Anthony Carlo, and we'll see you next week.
Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is The Local Live.